book was done while I was actually still in my corporate job, but that sort of put me into this space of helping women, specifically with divorce, realizing like, okay, this is going to pass, and thanks for sharing. I can laugh again, because, it goes through the trials and tribulations of dating and, some of the sadness around, when you have children involved, and it's just very authentic, as I'm told, and as it was designed to be. Mm-hmm. So in December, then I was sort of spit out of the corporate world, and I think really for a purpose, because that's really what put me in the space of being a personal transition specialist, which is kind of what people have told me is the title, in that, whenever you go through something that's a big change, it's not just divorce. It could be a job change, like the one I went through.
Sure.
Or anything. My boyfriend broke up with me. Or my life is okay, but I feel like it should be more. And so it all starts with thinking differently, and I have been able to help women understand the reality of the situation in an authentic and fun, humorous way, like, hey, I get it, this is crappy, but then I am able to give them a way of thinking differently. And that's how the Glow Workshop, which is really a program that's the only one of its kind. And I don't want to keep talking. I know you have some other questions, but that's kind of where we are present day, is I speak on various topics, and I work on these workshops, and then I do one-on-one coaching. And I really, really love it, because women just need to know that things are okay, that, you're not alone, and that everything that's thinking is normal, because we think that we're the only ones going through it. It's the worst, and it's never going to get better. And it all starts with thinking differently. And somehow I have this gift of being able to help people do that.
And it's never going to get better, and nobody ever had a divorce or acrimonious as mine, and blah, 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 blah. All the tapes. You went through all of that. I did. And I'm here to smile about it. And I went through a lot of other changes, and some of those are referenced in the book, and that's life. It's constantly changing. So the impetus for you getting into this line of work was that you get downsized from your corporate job when you say you were spit out?
Yeah, no, I got fired.
Oh.
Yeah, I like to be... Well,
isn't that kind of downsized?
We say downsized on the radio.
For the first month, I called it downsized. I called it restructured. No. The truth is, I was let go just for... It wasn't a bad thing. It was a good thing. It was a good thing. I didn't belong there anymore. I really didn't. So now I get to do this all the time, and I'm excited to offer women a new perspective.
Tell us more about your Glow seminar, because I'm going to come to it this Sunday.
I know, and I'm so excited.
And tell us what Glow means, and give us the 411 about the seminar.
Yep. So it's a process that I created. Like, it was one of those 3 a.m. moments where I wanted to put together a session where I could bring as many women together that would be feasible in an intimate setting, to really walk through how do we get our minds moving in a different direction with all the crap that we have going on. So Glow, which is really a beautiful word, I think, by design anyway, it's only referenced for pregnant women. Oh, she's glowing, as if that's the only category of women that can actually glow. So Glow stands for gratitude, love, oneness, and worth. And during the workshop, we actually do some real teaching. I mean, I have probably read a book a week since I've been unemployed, and I take the experience of time, the wisdom I've gleaned from others, the experiences, and the knowledge from the books and the resources available about this topic of change and thinking differently, and I put it all into a 5-hour day, which actually, it could be a 2-day workshop. There's so much, but so I do a little teaching, and then we spend time talking about what this gratitude means, love, oneness, and worth. And I guarantee that when people leave, I absolutely guarantee that people will be thinking differently. So much so that it's almost like, holy cow, my mind is so open right now, and it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. And it's fun, because anyone who knows me a little bit, like, it's Gia style. We're going to laugh, we're going to have fun, have some good food, and there's only amazing women allowed.
Which means all women.
Which means all, yeah.
I can't wait.
Me too.
For other women who are interested in coming, what types of women benefit most from your Glow workshops? I would think everybody, but...
Yeah. Well, you know what? You're not wrong in that. And I had some testimonials actually posted on my website from the last one. And that was a question I asked people to say, well, who needs to be here? And they would say, everyone. Because even if your life is good, like, you're going along and you're happy, I mean, why not become a more deliberate creator of your life? So if you're already got good wealth and you feel like you're happy, there's always some area that can be a little bit better. So it's for anyone who's just like, this is good, I can get better. But, obviously, if you're going through this point in your life where you say, is this as good as it gets? Like, really? Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's really, I think, probably the biggest group of people that come through. And then there are some people coming through, they're just down and out. Like, they need to put a smile back on their face and get everything moving in the right direction.
Boy, I got a couple
Go ahead, Laura.
Go ahead. I got a couple of girlfriends that seriously need to come to this. But, sometimes people aren't ready.
Well, that's so funny because I got a handful of people and I know that I don't really, I sort of disagree, but I understand what you're saying. To me, there's always a state of readiness. Like if you don't feel good right now, then you're ready. But people, I think that's more fear than actual readiness.
Maybe you're right, because I have a friend I want to bring, and she's like, I'm just not ready, I'm just not available emotionally, I'm just not blah, 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 and maybe I should just tie her up and drag her.
Well, to me, that sounds like more fear of change, because, Laura, it's easier to kind of sit in your own pile of crap and lies, and, those are comfortable for you. I'm not saying she's living amongst lies, but, we're living amongst beliefs that don't serve us. But in order to change those, like at first, it's a little bit of work. At first, it's a little bit of work to tell a news story when we're so used to telling people like how bad that guy is and what a jerk and I can't believe that company did this. That's the most comfortable story, and we love that because every time we tell it, someone goes, "You're right."
You get validation.
Yeah, and we just want to do that all day long, and then we wonder, like, why isn't the story changing? And it's like, we keep telling it. And, I'm kind of hard on people. Like, when I coach people one-on-one, it's like, I don't want to be coaching you for 6 months. You're either going to change the way you think or not. It doesn't have to take a long time.
Girl after my own heart. You're a girl.
But we haven't had time to waste. A lot of women, we surrender our power, not by choice. Sometimes we surrender it to our parents, and then we marry, we surrender it then, and then sometimes we surrender it to our job, and then we wake up one day like, well, hold on a second. Like, the life around me isn't anything that I would have picked.
Sometimes we don't realize we're surrendering our power.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a gradual.
Oh, I know. But something doesn't feel right. Inherently, like, this is not the best version of me, I don't think. I don't think so. And that doesn't mean you throw everything out the window. You quit your job, you dump your husband, It just means that you look through a different perspective and you change yourself, and then slowly the things around you, your environment will change. That I know for certain.
Well, like they say, if you put it out there, if you keep telling the same old story, you're right. You're going to get what you always got.
Yeah.
You got to change your tape. What are some of the other ways women can connect with you besides at your workshops? Or tell us about your workshops also.
Yeah, well, the Glow workshops are done monthly. So actually this Sunday, when we do our workshop, I will already have July's date because I have a lot of people that couldn't make it to this one. So those are going to be monthly. And I have updates into my speaking engagements. I love to speak to really any group of women because there's always some that become like, avid, like, let's do the workshop. Some are just like, yeah, that was cool, that was entertaining. And then some I just make laugh. Like, I feel like I'm doing stand-up comedy. But it's all good.
Sure.
And then I'm doing a thing now actually called Drinks with, because so many women want to connect with each other and just like have a couple of hours to either do a little networking, kind of bounce some things around and build a little support group. But I don't want to call it like support groups. I don't want to give it a connotation like only come if you have a problem.
Sure.
So when I go to a networking event and a woman's like, hey, can we have coffee? It's like, you know what? No, how about we do drinks? And then we're going to have a group of people. So Drinks with Gia will be starting in the month of June.
Okay.
And then, of course, I do work with people one-on-one. And all of that is on my website at giaclaire.com. And my cell phone's on there. So anyone can reach me. And I'm very accessible. And I just have such a big heart for helping women.
You really do. You really do. What type of topics? Give us a few of the type of topics you speak on.
Sure. My favorite one is really head first as a way of life, and that's the title of the book, which means, jumping in without knowing what's going to happen. And so I talk a lot about change, and I speak a little bit on the corporate level if that's the environment for the audience. Change whether you chose it or change whether it's been thrust upon you, because I've been in all those scenarios. That's my favorite and probably most popular. Then I also have a talk where it's called Delicious Me, and it's about really falling back in love with yourself, getting rid of all the beliefs that don't serve you, all the things that we're told, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not good enough, you can't make money doing that.
You're too old, you're too fat.
Yep, all that stuff that, God love our parents, but sometimes they started it and then we still believe it, and it's like, okay, time to move on and be happy with your body image and embrace your sexuality. I help people after they've been married for 20 years, like, I haven't been on a date in 20 years, like, how does this work? And, so kind of navigating them into that whole area. And then there is a talk that I do, and I'm starting to create partnerships with places like, places that do like pole dancing, lap dancing, because it's more about sexuality than it is just that stuff.
Mike just fell out of his chair.
Oh, stop. I'm fine.
You should see her. You should see Gia. Go to her website. Here's her picture on her book.
You keep showing her picture.
Every time you mention the book head first, I hold it up to the YouTube camera. So if you go to YouTube next week and you look at your interview, it'll be the second half of episode 133. You will see we're holding your book up.
I've already sent her a friend request on Facebook, so.
And she's just your age, too, Mikey.
I'm saying.
All right.
Listen, on that note, you're listening to the Laura Dion-Jones Show, and we are on the air live with Gia Claire. She's a personal transition specialist. And tell us a little bit more about your book, Head First, Eat, Pray, Love, Meet, Sex in the City. I thought it was a terrific read. Tell us what some of the highlights are that the women will find in this book.
Yeah, I absolutely love the book and the process of putting it together, because in hindsight now, I had no idea how putting all that stuff out there would help so many women be like, hey, first of all, it was a great fun read. Like, I'm not going through any of that, but so cool. I laughed and I cried and I laughed and I cried.
Sure.
So it covers a very personal journey about life after divorce, but let me just be clear what it's not. It's not saying that my ex-husband was bad, marriage is bad, because I don't believe any of those things.
Sure.
And a lot of people, they look at someone who works with people like I do, like, oh, so what are you, like a man-hater? Like, not at all.
Oh, yeah.
Not at all. Sometimes it just ends, and so this is only a story. It's not even about what happened. It's totally private and irrelevant, but it's about what goes on after. So the biggest piece of feedback is the dating. I get a lot of people, there's one character in there with the shoes, and he had some OCD, and it's like, even, I sent that chapter to some comedian friends that I know, like, hey, am I on point with the humor here? And they were like, bravo, you hit it,
Especially the guy with the feet.
Yeah. So you did read it, yes.
See?
Some of that, no, I didn't doubt you, but some of that stuff really makes people laugh, and then I get a lot of feedback on parts with my son, because especially as people have met him, I mean, he's become one of the favorite characters, because he's just such a loving soul, and people always say, oh, kids will be fine, your kids will be fine. I just have one, but, you hear that when you go through divorce, they'll be fine. But nobody tells you, like, the road to fine is one hell of a rocky road. And, you got to be all about your child or children. Someone, it's not both parents, but inevitably one's going to fall off the cart and get a little goofy after the divorce. It just happens, But someone's got to stay on point to make sure that they're doing good. And there were some really touching moments between me and my son. And but then it also covers like death, and there's some retrospective looks at death of my father early on in life, and then some infertility issues. And anyone who's ever gone through that, surface of nonsense is just, I put it all in there, so it's like you get it. There's a lot of things that cause your life to go, holy crap.
There's things in this book for every woman, and guys could read it, but it's more of a chick read, wouldn't you say? It's chick lit.
Agreed. I will say I have had a lot of men in their 30s, 40s read it, and I think that actually. I think that's an audience I'm skipping over, because they think, the first one are like, hey, listen, I'm going to be much nicer to my wife, thank you, because they don't
that's
want to go through that.
Where's the book available?
It's available on Amazon right now, and then, of course, always at my workshop seminars, I always have it on me, but Amazon.com, easiest way to get it.
And how does someone get in touch with you?
GiaClaire.com has my mobile and email, and I'm on top of those both ways.
And
so, all the time.
And tell me something. What is the most important lesson you've taught your son? A little personal.
That's a great question.
What's the most important lesson you've taught your son? What's the most important lesson you've learned from your parents? But more importantly, what's the most important lesson you've taught your son?
I would probably have to say to always look up, because that's where heaven is. And keeping the faith and knowing that, God has a plan for you, no matter what. Sometimes he puts you through the storm. Sometimes he lets you go around the storm, but you're always protected. You're always protected, and there's always a plan, so to have to trust. So I know that's referenced quite a bit in our book, and those are lessons he'll take with him throughout his whole life. And then I think from my family, my parents, the greatest thing I've learned is how important it is to find unconditional love.
No kidding. Dogs and sons.
Yeah, and
daughters.
If you are not surrounded by unconditional love, then you need to, you need to move forward and make sure you surround yourself with that.
That's one reason I love my dogs.
Well, that's nothing wrong with that. I have two myself.
I know. You talk about them in the book, snuggling up in bed under the covers and this and that. And I was like, oh, God, a girl after my own heart.
I know. I had a woman come over to do some stuff the other day, and she said, oh, that's LBM, that's Max. And I was like, yeah, that's him.
Listen, what one word would you use to describe yourself?
Love.
Love. No kidding. That's good.
No question about it.
What would you like to leave our listeners with today?
That no matter what you're going through, no matter where you are in life, you actually can have, be, or do anything that you want if you just think differently.
I think we're all going to take some of your advice. Gia, give our listeners your contact info one more time, please.
Sure, GiaClaire.com. You can email me at gia@giaclaire.com or reach me at 312-504-2065.
Listen, Gia, it's our sincere pleasure to have you on the Laura Dion-Jones Show today. I wish you all the best. We wish you all the best. And I will see you at your Incredible Glow seminar this Sunday at noon in right by Greektown, actually. Right?
Yep. Yes, you got it.
Thank you so much, Gia, for your time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mike. Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mikey.
She's from Chicagoland, too.
She lives in Beverly. She's beautiful. She's your age. And if you go to her website, you'll see a picture of her.
I told you I sent a request on Facebook. Yeah? She better answer to it. She's got hair similar to yours.
Yeah, she does, but it's black.
Well, it's very similar.
Yeah.
Were you her stylist?
No.
Yeah, well,
just sisters.
seemed like a natural question.
Just sisters in hair.
She's got beautiful eyes.
Doesn't she? Look at them on the book.
One more, the book.
The book
One
is
more.
great
Just in studio look for folks at home.
It's a black and white cover, but the only thing that's in color is the eyes.
The eyes are in color. The stilettos are in color. The Louboutins with the red bottom. And I think her lips are slightly pink. What do you think?
I just saw the eyes. I don't know.
Yeah, the eyes.
Gia, somebody's got a crush
I'm an eye kind of guy. I like eyes. What can I say?
Okay, on that note, you're listening to the Laura Dion-Jones Show, and we're on the air live, and we're talking about all sorts of interesting stuff. We had Illinois State Representative Kay Hatcher from the 50th 505th District weigh in with us in the first half. And then we just finished up an interview with Gia Claire, personal transition specialist, and her name is Gia, G-I-A, Claire, C-L-A-R-E. And go to her website, and she's got pretty cool stuff for any woman who's in transition. And I think it's very important to give everybody a few words about melanoma, especially at this time of year. And it's the dangerous fry your hide time of year. Have you seen the commercials on TV with the bacon and the eggs? Yeah. And this is your skin in the sun? Mm-hmm. You are talking to somebody here. We grew up back in the day, Valerie. I don't know if y'all laid out for tans or anything, but we were the iodine in the baby oil generation, laying on the beach on a piece of tinfoil or sitting at Cal Park.
Yeah, we used amplifiers. We didn't use any SPF, nothing. We had amplifiers to amplify the sun.
So you looked like you'd glow in the dark by the nighttime, right? Sure. And then when we used to go to Acapulco all the time, a friend of mine's husband was the general manager of Las Brisas Hotel in Acapulco, the place with the pink and white striped Jeeps built into the side of the hill where Liz Taylor and all of them, the Rat Pack and everybody hung out back in the day, Night of the Iguana and those movies. Anyway, so we used to go there, and one time I fell asleep in the sun.
Oh,
and boy, was I roasted. Yeah. Another time I fell asleep on a boat deep sea fishing in the Bahamas. And on a cloudy day, I kept checking my shoulder with
You're
my
not that
cheek.
lady with that tan problem today, are you?
No, but I got to tell you something. I regret every second I spent in the sun. So let's talk a little bit about sunscreen. I feel like a total lunatic over the past few weeks when I'd be walking to the club every day with an open umbrella and bundled up because it was 50 degrees and bright and sunny. But you know something? Sometimes I just don't want to grease up with sunscreen when it's that cool out. In the summer of 2010, if you remember, I don't know if you do, I had 4 biopsies and they were all in the same spot on my back where the sun has never once shone, ever. In the middle of my back, and they were all pre-melanoma, and my derm doc at the time had to keep going in bigger, deeper, wider with each one to get clean borders. And after the second one, I said, Doc, if I got to come back the third time, you know how in baseball, 3 times, it's 3 strikes and you're out. Right. You go, oh, this hasn't happened to me in 24 years. Don't you know I get the call 10 days later or a week later, you have to come in for the third bite. And then there was the fourth. Needless to say, I have a new derm doc now. Not that it was his fault, but 4 times. Come on. Anyway.
But they got everything out?
Yeah, I got to hand it to him. He kept going. I would have just took a bigger bite if I were the doctor. You know? Anyway, I don't need any bigger handwriting on the wall than that. And now I'm kind of like a vampire in the sun, and I have to avoid the sun at all costs or make like an Aussie and slip, slap, and slop. That's what the Australians, you've heard that. And if I want to live and be out enjoying all the summer fishing and fun with my friends, so ideal. And I use sun protection garb. I have all kinds of, I get out there, but I just am very, very well protected. I kind of look like Laurencia of Arabia.
Oh, yeah?
Anyway, you know me, I don't let anything get in the way of adventure, anything else I want to do. So let me tell you a little bit. It's skin cancer prevention care time, especially with summer right on our heels. Did you know that women are 8 times more likely than men, who are 4 times more likely to get malignant melanoma and other skin cancers? If I'm scaring you, I want to. Melanoma is the #1 deadliest skin cancer there is. The sun and tanning beds are primary causes of skin cancer. Can you imagine what that New Jersey tan freak is going to be? If your skin is tan, it's damaged, period. And with each exposure to the sun or in tanning bed, your chances are increasing. There is no such thing as a safe tanning bed. There is a big misconception that tanning beds get your skin ready for summer. That's BS, kids, especially you teens and early 20s. Heredity, and the lighter your skin is, the more you're at risk. And believe me, I am as light as this piece of paper if you saw my midriff. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, skin burns accumulated over a lifetime all add up, like all the times you cooked yourself in Acapulco, etc. So listen, just put on the sunscreen, put on the hat, get yourselves protected when you're outside doing your walking, your running. These are wise words. Please take heed, because I know I have to. And when you're out doing your cardio walk for the day, stick to the shady side of the street, because it's even healthier yet. You know what I'm saying?
If I might add a few SPF phrases, 30.
Go ahead. Yes.
SPF 30 is what they're recommending. And they're saying a lot of the skin cancers are caused nowadays by your very first sunburn. Back before you were able to take care of yourself, your parents need to take care of the kids. Your very first sunburn is directly related to the chance of you getting skin cancer.
Seriously?
New studies say.
Haven't heard that. And let me tell you something. We lived in Roseland when my grandparents moved us up here from Florida. I was born in Miami. Okay. Anyway, I can still remember my baby pool. You know, it was like, 12 inches, 18 inches deep. I remember the seahorses and all the little starfish and stuff on the bottom, and I remember getting scorched in that sucker.
When you were young?
Yeah.
Back when the sun didn't shine on your back?
But you know what? That's when I got it. Now that you're bringing that up, that's exactly...
Think about it.
Yeah.
Think about
because
it.
Because your back might have touched in those days.
I was the kid always in the T-shirt. Anyway, what you're doing right now is listening to the Laura Dion-Jones show every Wednesday afternoon, or actually for one more Wednesday afternoon.
Stop saying that.
From 3 to 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, WRMN 1410 a.m. And just like that, it's that time again. And on that note, would like to thank everyone for being with us today. My gang, Jeff, Mike, Valerie the Swan, and of course, thank you to all of our loyal listeners. What would it all be without you anyway? This has been a magnificent 2.5 years. Come in next week and say hi if I have touched your life in any way. Please join us next Wednesday afternoon. Is anyone bringing cake with buttercream frosting? I don't know. This show has been brought to you by
Dr. Clara Leyes, you know that, right at Larkin Avenue for the past 20-plus years.
And snobhounds.com. And thanks again, Casey, for making this show possible. Please don't forget to read my weekly motivational blog on elgin.bocajump.com. Click on blog and forward it to all of your friends. This is the Laura Dion-Jones Show. I am Laura Dion-Jones, and my parting words for today are: burn the candles even if it's at both ends. Use the nice sheets. Wear the fancy lingerie. Don't save it all for a special occasion. Today is that special occasion, more than you'll ever know. Thanks for listening. See you next week. Keep all of our troops over in the Middle East and around the globe in our prayers. We absolutely love being here with you, more than you will ever know. Mikey, thanks for the happy. And now another special tribute to the late but incredibly great Donna Summer, Bad Girls, because y'all know that Diva here is a bad girl, just like Mae West at heart. And you also know the drill. Download it and get your butts out walking. Your life depends on it. Semper Fi, kids. I love you. Pray for peace. See you next week.